So there is another thing that people are doing there that they call multiple orgasms for men. So I'm going to review the technique for that here for you, so that you have this technique, you can use it if you want to. But I'm going to be clear that I don't teach this technique. I don't personally recommend this technique. I'm going to explain to you why in this video I would not recommend you to do that, but you will see that technique out there. So, if it makes sense to you, if you want to do it, then, go ahead. I'm going to tell you how this technique goes. So, multiple orgasms for men, what are they? First of all, there are a bunch of things that are called multiple orgasms for men for no reason at all. For example, the experience that I described to you about the orgasmic waves, just enjoying strong waves of sexual energy, that is often called an orgasm without ejaculation, is also often called a multiple orgasm for men. For what reason? Who knows? There is nothing multiple orgasm about it. You're just enjoying sex at high intensity. You keep enjoying every sensation. People call this a multiple orgasm for men for no reason whatsoever. The experience of tantric orgasm or valley orgasm is also often called a multiple orgasm for men for no reason at all. There is nothing multiple orgasm about it. So look, a lot of it is very commercial. It's just a really sensationalist phrase to use that will attract the views, and then you can kind of teach everything and call it a multiple orgasm for men. But there is one technique that people have been using that kind of at a stretch can feel a bit like a multiple orgasm. So this whole idea of separating an orgasm from ejaculation, which I'm sure you've heard about this idea out there. A lot of people are telling you that the orgasm and the ejaculation, they happen very close, but not at exactly the same time. The orgasm happens a little bit before and the ejaculation a little bit later. So if you can really precisely spot that moment, then you can have an orgasm and not have an ejaculation. So that's what people are telling you. Here's the reality. There is no orgasm and ejaculation happening separately. The whole process is just, has some length to it. When you start having an orgasm, you start having contractions. They feel very pleasurable. These contractions, they build up. They start getting stronger, and at some point, that contraction triggers the ejaculation. So it's not two separate events. It's one event that has a little bit of time to it. The contractions building up, stronger, and then the ejaculation happens. So what some people do is when they start feeling those first contractions, which are very pleasurable, and they feel like you're going to have an orgasm, you're getting the beginning of an orgasm. People then do something to stop it from getting stronger. So they interrupt the orgasm, and then they have had some contractions, but it didn't get to that stage where the ejaculation was released. And then people will say that, they've just had an orgasm without ejaculation. Obviously, what they've done here is not that they had an orgasm without ejaculation, they interrupted the orgasm in the middle. Now you can do this a few times during sex, and then you can say that you've just had, several orgasms because they felt pleasurable and because you felt contractions and nothing came out. Well, nothing came out because you stopped it in the middle. Now, how is that technique performed? There are two techniques that are out there for this. The first technique is just to try to time it. So you just get yourself so close to that orgasm, just with very precise movement. You're really aware of where your arousal is, and your movement is very precise, and you know when to stop. You know when to stop. That excitement will carry on a little bit and will start those contractions, but it's not going to be enough. You will then kind of distract yourself or something, and you will not allow the orgasm to happen, and it will be just enough to start those contractions, but not carry over into the orgasm. And typically what you will feel after that is like a bit of a feeling of relaxation and release, because your system has just tried to have an orgasm and now it's been interrupted. So your system is like, kind of a little bit confused, and then it comes back together, and then you can carry on having sex. So it can feel like a mini release, but actually it's a mini confusion. So to do that, you just need to be very good at timing. You just need to really know when you're going to come, how much movement to apply, so that you start having those pleasurable contractions, but it's not enough to come. That's all it is, just timing and a lot of experimentation. The other technique that exists for it is to use Kegels. So same thing, you take yourself to that high level of intensity, You try to creep up closer to an orgasm carefully, and when you start feeling that it is contracting, then you start applying the Kegels, squeezing your PC muscles, and you stop the orgasm. You basically interrupt it from happening. But because you had those contractions beginning, they felt very nice, you feel like you've had an orgasm. And people have been reporting with this technique that it feels like they've had a real orgasm, that, you know, it felt really intense and they were throbbing and contracting, but nothing came out. The ejaculate didn't come out, and then they have like a mini release. They relax a bit and then they continue. They might even lose erection a bit. It is not really a relaxation after an orgasm, because a relaxation after an orgasm is called a refractory period, is when you have released your sexual energy and you need to build it up again. In this case, you have cut the orgasm in the middle, so you have interrupted the signal. So yes, momentarily your system is not excited. Momentarily you feel a drop in your excitement, maybe even a drop in erection. Why? Not because your system is recovering, but because your system is confused. It was just having an orgasm and you cut it in the middle, and suddenly it's like, ooh, what's happening? All the senses are scrambled, and now you are kind of regaining your feeling of build-up again, you know? So there's not much more to it. This is the technique. This is how you do this. One option is you time it really well. You learn when to stop, so that, you know, the contractions begin but they don't carry over into the ejaculation. And I would recommend at that point just really channel your sexual energy really well, really inhale it into your body. That will help you to lower the contractions. And the second option is to use the Kegels to squeeze your PC muscle at the moment when the contractions are beginning, and that will help you not ejaculate, but will, you know, give you those sensations and those contractions. And typically what people do for that is they also train their Kegels. They do exercises to develop, you know, strong Kegels that have that control to be able to do that at the right moment. So that's often recommended to do as well. So if you want to do this, do this. I do not recommend it. I do not teach it. I recommend against it. I'm going to explain to you why. So the reason I don't recommend you to use this technique, and the reason I don't teach it, you know, but you're free to use it if you want to at your own kind of risk and, you know, at your own responsibility, but I don't recommend it, is because I don't think it makes good sex for you or for your lover. The first problem with this technique for multiple orgasms for men is that it's extremely difficult to perform. In both versions. So in the version without squeezing your PC muscle, when you're just trying to time the sensation, you're trying to time your movement so that it stops precisely when you are contracting, but, you know, you don't ejaculate, it's extremely difficult to stop with that precision. You need to be so masterful, so in control to make such very little adjustments, because there is also inertia. There's also, like, when you stop, your body keeps being excited for a little bit longer. It's like the ball that keeps rolling. So you need to time it. You need to be really good at bowling. You need to time it, you know, exactly where the ball is going to stop. It's extremely difficult. And when something is so difficult, it makes you really focused and obsessed with that moment. It makes you really tense. You can't relax. You can't enjoy sex. You can't make love to your lover. You're just really preoccupied with this one sensation, where it is going to stop. Are you going to come? Are you not going to come? You know, it becomes a very self-obsessed technique. So a guy typically is in the space where he's only trying to feel a particular sensation in his body, and he has no place in his mind for anything else in sex. And in the second version, when you're using the Kegels to stop it, that's also quite a risky and fragile and unreliable technique, I find. A lot of guys struggle to stop ejaculation when they are, you know, getting to that point of contractions beginning, and then they're trying to squeeze it. A lot of guys find that it actually makes it even easier for them to come. Why? Because when I teach you in the technique to stop as an emergency, I say, you know, start squeezing your PC muscle and really inhale into your body, breathe into your body, feel your heart. I'm taking your attention away from your dick. I'm getting you to squeeze it, to interrupt the signal, and to distract yourself so you don't have exciting thoughts. But with this technique, guys are taught to do the opposite. You're supposed to be squeezing there, but you're supposed to be having some kind of an orgasm. So you're really trying to feel the pleasure from it, to enjoy the orgasm, while you are contracting your Kegels. This often has the opposite effect. And guys really struggle not to come because you are contracting there already and you are trying to feel every sensation there and you are trying to squeeze it even more. This is often more likely to make you come. So a lot of guys actually struggle with this technique. They try to master it and they find that it's very difficult for them not to come. It's very hit and miss. Sometimes they manage, sometimes they come really accidentally by using this technique all the time. So for some guys it works, for some guys it works really badly, so it's just a very unreliable technique. And it takes an enormous amount of training, and this is apart from the thing that I explained in my video on Kegels, that when you're training your Kegels for this, nobody really knows the effect from it, the possible kind of long-term negative effects of it, you restructuring your pelvic floor for the sake of this idea. Nobody really knows enough about it when they're teaching you this. So I really wouldn't mess with the structure of your body in the pelvis. So that's another thing, And the question is, the main reason is, what for? What is the point of doing this? You are not having a real orgasm. You're just interrupting the orgasm. You are not going to have your release. What is the point of getting those few pleasurable contractions when you can just drop down a little bit, not to be on the edge so much, and you can enjoy really strong, powerful waves of sexual energy that feel really nice, but they feel a lot more comfortable, not like you're really stressed on the edge. That little bit more of that curious sensations of contraction and it feels pleasurable. Is it worth it? All the stress, being really anxious in sex all the time, trying to catch that moment, forgetting your lover. What does it give you? What is the value? What is so important about this sensation of contracting, the beginning contractions before the orgasm? This technique doesn't make you last longer. It doesn't make you a better lover. It doesn't give you more sexual energy or more fulfillment from sex. There's no point in doing that. In a lot of these places where this technique is taught, if you have multiple orgasms for men, you can last for ages, you can come and come again, and she will never have enough, and you will not lose your erection, you can just continue. Well, you can do all this without needing to have those contractions and being so close to ejaculation. You can just enjoy sex, enjoy those orgasmic waves, not precisely just before the orgasm, a little bit lower, be comfortable, and you can last longer, and you're not going to lose your erection, and you can let her enjoy sex for as long as you want to, and you will fill up with all that sexual energy. All of that is available. All of that is possible without having to balance on that really, really small edge. It's just not necessary. It doesn't give you anything extra. If there is an argument that, you get more pleasure that way, well, how much pleasure really from really intense orgasmic waves where you are comfortable? Maybe you are going to raise it from, 92% to 97%. Are you really going to notice that difference? And is it worth it for you to be super tense, super anxious about it for that few percent difference? It's completely meaningless. I think it's a really pointless technique, but, if you want to invest into it, the technique, you're free to do so. I think it's better for you to not complicate your life so much and just enjoy all those kind of orgasmic waves as much as you want, and have your conventional orgasm when you want it and when you need it and when it's all right for you.